All right, welcome everyone. We are starting on the next lesson, which is writing equations in point slope form, or writing equations with a point and a slope and then 2 points. So what we're going to do is you see on your screen, you see a 5-minute check. So I want you to take a few minutes and I want you to do that. You just need to pause the podcast and go ahead and work out those 5 problems there. And then when you are done, you will need to move down and do number 6. And that's what number 6 looks like. All right. And so after you've paused it, you've had a chance to look at it, then what you will see is you will see the answers on how we got all of those. Now, I'll be glad to entertain those questions in class tomorrow, but now you've seen the whole page. So again, you're going to start off with this 5-minute check, and so there are 6 problems total. The first two, you write the equation if you're given the point and the slope. And since this is over 5-minute check over 4-2, it should be in slope intercept form. Then here's what we did the daily check on yesterday or day before, where you are giving 2 points and you're writing it in slope intercept form. Now here, what number 5 is a little bit different because on number 5 you're given 2 ordered pairs, and so what you do need to pay attention to is that I will help you out a little bit with that one, is that your ordered pairs here are -2, 0, and then here it's 0, 4. And then you can work these like you do 3 and 5. So you just need to be aware that's what it looks like when it's slope intercept form. And then I'm going to clear that. And then you're going to go down. And what you're doing in this particular one, number 6, is you are writing the equation or matching the equation to the graph. So that's what you should see there. And again, there are your answers for you to take a couple of minutes and check. So after you've done that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump right into our lesson. And so I am going to minimize this on this screen, and we're going to go straight to a new page. And what we are doing here is this particular one is entitled, sorry, I need my pen, is entitled Writing Equations. Yeah, and I know it's slanting, that's sorry about that. Writing equations in point slope form. And so we will be doing several examples, and then don't forget your homework that has been assigned. All right. And so what you're looking at here is the standard form for writing point slope is y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. Whoops, sorry about that. Let's do that. X sub 1, y sub 1 is an ordered pair, and then of course you know what m is, that's your slope. And so we're going to go ahead and start with the first one. So basically what's going to happen is when we did this previously, we plugged it into the substituted into the equation for slope intercept form. Now we're going to plug it into point slope form, and you're going to find this one is much easier, I think, for a lot of you. So let's jump right in and let's do example 1. And I think I have that popped up here, so that way I don't have to write it. Okay, so, and this comes straight from your book, so here's the picture that you need to be looking at. Again, you can follow along in your book. Notice that this is lesson 4-3. And so then when you go on, there's the problem. Okay, so we're going to write the point slope form of an equation of a line for a line that passes through -2, 0 with a slope of -3/2. That just makes it so much easier for you to read. So please feel free to pause, and then I'm going to go back to Active Inspire, and you can just pick up when you're done. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to do example 1. And so example 1, they're giving us the point is -2, 0, and then they are giving us the slope is -3/2. All right. And so this is your x sub 1, y sub 1, and here's your m. So I'm going to have y minus 0 equals -3/2 times x minus a -2. Well, that's the same thing as y equals -3/2 times x plus 2. And you have written it, you are done. You can leave the y minus 0, but you don't have to. All right. So that's pretty much all there is. Notice that you have m, you have the ordered pair, and you just substitute in. That's all you have to do there. So now going back here, let's, okay, I think, let's go back one here. And they're going to show you the exact same thing that I just showed you. Okay, so they just substituted in, and there it is, it's simplified. Now, so there's our equation. You should notice it matches right back up with what we did. And then what I want you to see is then they ask you to graph this equation. And the way that you do this, you first plot that ordered pair that they gave you, and then you're going to use the slope to move up from there. So notice that they plotted -2, 0, and then they used the slope to find the other 2 points. And so it was a -3/2, so they went down 3 to the right 2, put the other point, and then you just draw a line. And there you go. So we are going to move on to the next one. And so you're writing the point slope form of this equation. And so you need to know what the ordered pair is, and you need to know your slope. So feel free to pause, take a minute there. And then your answer should be that one. Keep in mind this is x, y, so it's going to be 4, -3. And that's what they have here because it's minus a negative, which is the same thing as plus. Okay, and then your slope is a -2. Okay, so it's going to fall down. And it looks like this is the only one that worked. So that was pretty easy, just knowing what the ordered pair was. All right, so now if we want to write the equation, there's 2 ways that we're going to look at this. The first one is if we're given a slope and a point. Okay, you just substitute in, and then you can put it in. Okay, well, that was one way to do it. You can substitute in for a slope intercept. I'm sorry, point slope form, or then substitute in for slope intercept and do what we did in the first lesson. Or if you're given 2 points, you find the slope and then use one of the points, and then however you're going to write it. So moving to the next one. Okay, so now that was just sort of a recap so you kind of see where we are now. So you notice it's not much different than what we've been doing. Now, this particular problem, they're asking us to put it in standard form. So let's go to our Active Inspire, and I'm going to go to another screen, and we are doing example 2. Okay, so we want to, on example 2, we want to write y equals 3/4 x minus 5, and we want to put it in standard form. Okay. Now, in order to do that, you have to remember what standard form is. So that's ax plus by equals c. So x and y are on the same side. So when I take this problem, and when you do this, you should have what we call integer coefficients. In other words, there shouldn't be any fractions. So what I would do first, and I'm honestly a big proponent, I don't care if it's negative, but some people don't like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this entire equation through by 4, and I'm going to get rid of my fraction. So I just multiply it through by my denominator, so if you remember that. So it's going to give me 4y equals 3x minus 20. So I did 4 times y, 4 times 3/4 x, and then 4 times -5. Now what we want to do is we want to move the x to the other side. So we're going to subtract 3x from both sides. Now you can't combine that with the 4y because those are not like terms. So -3x plus 4y equals -20. Now we're going to make sure that this is positive, so we're going to multiply through by a -1. And when we do that, our answer should be 3x minus 4y equals 20. All I did was change all the signs. Okay, so that's how you would write that problem in standard form. So let's just recap. So what we did is I got rid of the fraction first. Now if it doesn't have a fraction in the problem, you don't have to worry about it. Okay, the only time you have to do that is if it has a fraction in front of your x and y. So I got rid of my fraction, and then all I did was move my x to the side. X and y are on the same side, x being written first. All right, so let's go back here. Whoops, sorry, not the one I wanted. Let's go back here, and then you're going to see that they've done exactly the same thing. A, B, and C have to be integers. That's why you have to get rid of the fractions. And so you're going to see how that works out, where they have done they pretty much did the same thing I did, and in the same order, which is unusual. And then subtracted 3x from both sides, simplified it, multiply each side by -1, change the sign, so there's your standard form. So now I'm going to give you another one to do. So we're going to take and we're going to do this particular one. All right, so we're going to go to a different screen, and okay, they want that in standard form. So I'm going to go back to my Active Inspire, and I'm going to copy that problem down. So we have y minus 3 equals 2 times x plus 4. And all you're going to really be doing here, guys, is just multiplying it out. So let's go to our Active Inspire. We're going to go to a new screen. We're going to call this example 2a. And so we're putting this in standard form. So we have y minus 3 equals 2 times x plus 4. All right, so what we're going to do is we have y minus 3. We're going to distribute here, so that's going to be 2x plus 8. All right, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 3 to both sides. All right, when we do that, we get y equals 2x plus 11. Now I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. This is 11, just in case you're curious. When I do that, I get negative 2x plus y equals 11. I'm going to multiply through by my -1, if you remember that. And so my problem is going to be 2x minus y equals negative 11. I have now gone from point slope to standard form. So that's how that one works. Now, let's go to that one. And so our answer should be C. And that's exactly what we got. Now, we're now going to do the same problem where we're going to take point slope, but we're going to put it in slope intercept form. So let's go to a new screen and we will do that. Or you know what? Let's save ourselves a little time. Let's just annotate over our desktop. Okay. Because we got plenty of room to write there. Okay. So now what we're going to do here is we are going to, I think what I want to do is I want to get rid of this fraction. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 3. So I'm going to have 3 times y minus 5. Ooh, I don't like how this is writing. Okay, I really don't like that. Okay, so we're going to take that off and write much better in Active Inspire. Y minus 5 equals 4/3 times x minus 3. So let's take that off. All right, and we'll go to another screen. We're going to call this example 3 now. So we're going to put it in slope intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. And so what we have is we have y minus 5 equals 4/3 times x minus 3. We're multiplying the entire thing by 3. When we do that, we're going to get 3y minus 15 equals 4 times x minus 3. You're only multiplying the 3 times this fraction because this is considered one term because it's multiplied. Now let's distribute here. So we have 3y minus 15 equals 4x minus 12. I'm now going to add 15 to both sides. There's nothing special about the order that I'm using. It's just what I choose to do. So 3y equals 4x plus 3. Use your calculator if you're struggling on getting those answers. Now let's subtract 4x from both sides. When we do that, we're going to get a negative 4x plus 3y equals 3. Multiply through by my -1, so we can change the sign, and that's going to give us 4x minus 3y equals a negative 3. And that's so not what I wanted. Alright. I put it in standard form and we need to stop at slope intercept form. Sorry, force of habit. So what I really need to do here, I went back to this step, just divide through by 3. When I do that, I get y equals 4/3 x plus 1. So instead of, I went one step too far because I did standard form when I really needed to stop at slope-intercept form, which is what I wrote here. So got rid of my fraction, distributed, and the reason for getting rid of the fraction is because if you don't like fractions, that's going to be just a lot more work. So I got rid of my fraction, and then I got y by itself basically. So then this is my final answer. So we're going to jump over to this one, and let's see if they did the same thing. There's the original. They did distributive property. Yeah, because that would have fallen out. Okay. So a couple of ways to approach it. We're going to end up with the same answer. And is that what I got? It's exactly what I got. So I am honestly okay. Either one you want to do is fine. All right. So now put that in slope-intercept form. So remember, this is where you're going to subtract the 3x out, and then you're going to divide through the entire problem by 2. Okay? And so when we do that, we'll do 2y equals 6. I'm going to go back to my Active Inspire and just write better on that. Okay? So we have 3x plus 2y equals 6. We're doing y equals mx plus b, slope-intercept form. So we're going to subtract 3x from both sides. So you're going to have 2y equals negative 3x plus 6. And then you're going to divide through by 2. So y equals negative 3 halves x plus 3. Alright, and that's what we got. Let's see what they get. So, should have been A. And it is. That's how you do that. Okay, so all we're really doing here is we're doing lots of manipulation of different equations here. And I don't know if we necessarily want to do this one. I don't think we're going to do this example just yet, just for the simple reason that on your homework, all they're really having you guys do is just working with the problems and not doing application here because this is a geometry problem. So we're going to skip that, skip that, skip that. We're going to skip that. When you get to geometry, you will do some of this. So, and there we go. All right. So I need you to at least give this a try, and you can ask questions when you come to class tomorrow. And let's stop.